Welcome to the May Slow Flowers member meetup. I'm Debra Prinzing. I'm so delighted to see all of you. It's kind of a fun change of pace here. We are in week 3 of the month. Normally we meet the second Friday, but this month we had to move it to today. So we will be recording this for replay video and also sharing the PDF of Beth's presentations. So if you miss it or you have to bounce out early, you'll have access to it later. So I want to welcome everyone to our All About Peonies conversation here in May. And I don't know if I introduced myself. I'm Debra Prinzing. A couple housekeeping details before we get started. First of all, we are going to have several giveaways, including a grower's dozen box of peonies from Scenic Peonies, which is going to be amazing. So be sure to make sure that your name is identified in the participants list, and so that Nisha can find and follow you or grab your name, and Nisha will probably direct message you if she can't figure out who you are. Our team, our Slow Flowers team is here. We have Lisa Watt, our membership manager. Lisa's going to be monitoring questions and, feeding them to our presenters. And then I just want to mention for the very first time at the end of the hour, which was 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern, Lisa and I are going to host office hours for any member questions and troubleshooting or ideas or brainstorming. So stay on this line if you're interested in joining us. And we're going to start doing this at least quarterly. And then Karen Thornton, our administrator, is hiding behind a photo of me on the screen, but you can message her with any questions that you might have. Great. I am so delighted that you're all here, as I said, and we're going to have the video recap from last month in the chat box. And last month, as you may remember, we had a wonderful presentation from Toby Nelson and Becky Feasby about sustainable floristry. And they gave a PowerPoint, and it's really fabulous information and resource. So check that out. And then I want to introduce 2 of our fabulous Slow Flowers members from Homer, Alaska. We have Beth and Sandt, and Beth is a longtime peony grower and co-owner with her husband of Scenic Peonies in Homer, Alaska. And Beth, thank you for putting this together with me. Beth's the one who suggested we bring in one of her friends and colleagues in Homer, Brandon Scott McLean, and Brandon owns East Hill Floral, and they are coming to us live from Brandon's greenhouse, which is pretty amazing. And Brandon's going to be doing some design demos after Beth's presentation. I don't think we see Brandon on the screen yet, but we will see him and welcome him. Pop your head in, Brandon, so we can say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. Okay. So Beth, I'm going to go ahead and get your PowerPoint started. Is that okay?
Yep, that's
and
fantastic.
Everyone else can maybe go ahead and put themselves on mute and put your questions in the chat. Okay. How's that, Beth?
Great. That's perfect. Thank you, Debra. So first of all, thanks to Slow Flowers for inviting myself and Brandon to join you all this morning. We are, like Debra said, are coming from the greenhouse. Unfortunately, things aren't really so green yet here in Alaska. We've had a super cold spring. It's a balmy, maybe 41 out right now. But things are starting to grow and green up. So for me, with the farm, the bonus is that we will have peonies August and September. So that's just a little bit about that. My husband and I have been growing peonies since 2010. So this is year 11 for us. And we grow at 2 different elevations in Homer. Which helps with extending our season out. So we go from elevation 1150 and then all the way up to 1500. So our growing season can be spread out about 4 to 5 weeks. So go ahead, Debra. So speaking of harvest dates, I kind of just wanted to give you an overview of Alaska in general. The interior of Alaska. We call it the interior, Fairbanks, North Pole, that area up there usually starts first for us. And that's usually like last week in June. And then we go to the Matsu-Susitna area. And that they start theirs around the end of June. And then the Kenai Peninsula, Homer, Kenai, Soldotna, those areas, we all start around first part of July. But, with that said, these are all approximate because Mother Nature really is the dictator. And she, like this year, I guarantee I'm not going to be starting my harvest on the 1st of July or even the 14th of July. It's probably going to be more like, 16th to the 18th, just depending on when we can finally get our snow gone. So go ahead. So I wanted to make this presentation based on what a florist questions would be. So if you all have questions on the growing aspect, feel free to put them in the chat box and Lisa can relay them to me. I'm not going to really be talking a lot about the growing of peonies. It's more about what you will receive, how you can manipulate that kind of stuff. So again, I just encourage any questions. I am by no means an expert on peony growing. What I'm coming from is just experience. I guarantee you, as one of the earlier growers in the state, I have done it wrong. I have learned from that. So I think that's part of life is growing and learning the whole time. So these are the different stages of harvest that you'll normally see. And each one of them is based on, who the end user is. Buds 1 and 2 stages are going to be for your wholesaler and the florist that wants to hold them on, hold on to the plant or the bud, for a extended period of time if they have an event that's coming in later. So we normally cut at a 2 at our farm because we do have both. One thing that we do also is we do side bud all of our flowers. We want all that energy to go into the terminal bud. And it has a couple different benefits, being that for us, it's, when you don't have those side buds, it's a heck of a lot easier to pack. And because our product is for the most part shipped, we don't have a lot of call in the local market area for peonies, especially in season because there's so many growers now. But so for shipping, it's easier for us to go ahead and take those sides off, let the main bud get really large, and ship them that way. Again, it's there's definitely benefits to having those floriferous side buds, and you as florists in your local areas, you are, I would encourage you to go to your local farms and talk with them about side buds if you're interested in them, because they do have applications. I mean, they're great for using for flower crowns, boutonnieres, all sorts of stuff, which I'm sure you guys all know more so than me because I'm not a designer. So, okay, Deborah. So this is just a slide of how we package here at our farm. There are different methods, obviously, but one thing that we did here at our farm is we switched over to trying to use all recyclable type of materials. We had a buyer that was in the San Francisco area, and when I would send Dacron, which is made out of actually plastic, the soft batting material that you get in quilts, they were having issues because they had to pay to have it disposed of. So we switched over at that point then to all something that can be given as a credit because it's compostable. So so we go ahead, we have our boxes set up. We put gel packs in there that are frozen to keep the buds cool. And then we, like I said, we do the shredded newspaper, we wrap them in newsprint, and then put J-hooks in and strap them in so that they're secure and that they won't move and go anywhere. We throw in our, tips of care sheet on what to expect. and that kind of stuff. And then, you know, a lot of times we'll throw in bonus stems, just, you know, just to make sure that, you know, in shipments, you know, of course, something can always go wrong. FedEx holds on to them for an extra day, or, you know, something along that line, or, you know, something just slips through. So we go ahead and put those bonus stems in just so that you have that extra. All of our stuff at this point goes out FedEx priority overnight. So our plane leaves Homer by noon, Monday through Thursday. So I have to have everything to the FedEx office by 10 a.m. So when we have really large shipments and I can't fit them in our van, I have FedEx come up and pick up the boxes. And at that point, it's like at 8 a.m. in the morning. So if somebody's trying to put in a last minute order, it's really tough for us because of those time constraints, excuse me, of FedEx. One thing I did want to throw in too is that last year with COVID, FedEx took away the guaranteed they would arrive to you the following day, because normal priority overnight gets to you by noon. And because of COVID, they took that out last year because there was so much shipping going on, but they are bringing that back. So that's very encouraging. Next. And so this would be for you folks that are, when you're receiving it, what the plants are going to look like, you know, how to process the plants or the buds and the stems. You know, these guys are going to be thirsty. They have been in dry storage. We can dry store our peonies for up to 4 weeks. That's about the most I like to. I will be honest, I have held them for 9 weeks for my daughter's wedding, September 22nd, years ago. And so it's definitely doable. They opened up beautifully. They were, you know, I was wondering, it was a test, but what you do want to recognize is they are thirsty. So give them a big bucket of water. They will suck that water right up. Making sure you get them a nice clean cut, just like all flowers. I'm sure you all know how to process flowers for the most part. Peonies are about the same, except for that they really do want a lot of water. And do let them hydrate. I always encourage my florists to hydrate in the cooler. That just gives them that extra time to get the rigidity back into the leaf as well as the stem, and making sure that the everything hydrates properly. And of course, if you don't need all that extra leaf structure, go ahead and just take it off. You know, I personally love to leave on some of the leaves, because I think that the peony leaf has a really wonderful vase life, but it's also really quite beautiful, especially in the fall. I don't know why I don't just harvest leaves and sell those, because they're really beautiful when the fall colors hit them, but I digress. Okay, so go ahead, Deborah.
Beth, I was just going to say there are growers here in the Seattle area who do harvest those kind of golden peony leaves for
Really?
sale in the fall, because they are
Oh,
exactly like you said, beautiful.
they're exquisite, yeah. And like I said, they have such a wonderful base life to them. They just hold. I mean, I use them all the time for our local restaurants when we do deliveries. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I'll use them all summer long. I don't even wait for the color. I just throw them in everything because they're so pretty. So I always kind of get, you know, when should I have them ordered? When, you know, I've got my event on such and such day, when should I get them? You know, so this is just, you know, when we ship, again, FedEx dictates kind of our days, Monday through Friday. And also you want to make sure that you get in your product in enough time for, to get it hydrated properly. So you want that 24 hours at least to get them hydrated, depending on who I'm selling to. So if it's a wholesaler, I will send them tight, because that's what they want. They don't want those buds opening as in transit. So for my florists though, I mean, we communicate quite frequently as to when their event is, you know, do they want to have that textural difference between a hard bud and a really open bloom? And I try to, as much as possible, I try to go ahead and put that in our notes on our pick sheets and our shipping box labels, or not the boxes, but the labels, so that I can make sure that we are shipping product in the form that they would like. And again, that's something, you know, if you're going to a local grower in your area and buying your peonies, I mean, that's a wonderful way to build a relationship with your farmer, is to go look at their product and see that they have, you know, if they're open bloom or if they are in a certain bud stage that you desire. And again, a lot of the farmers have found also take off the side buds. So, you know, that's an opportunity for you to reach out to your local farmers in that time frame. You know, I mean, for Alaska farmers, we kind of are, we have that niche market that nobody else in the lower 48 grows flowers is during our time frame for the most part, unless, you know, Mother Nature dictates, which she did a couple of years ago. But so our niche market is basically, you know, that we're able to provide peonies July, August, and sometimes into September. So for us, because ours is mainly shipping, we take those side buds off. But yeah, so basically communication is key. Let your farmer know what you're looking for, and build that relationship with them. I love getting feedback from my florists, and that goes both ways as far as, or not both ways, but well, it does go both ways, but it goes, you know, Beth, this didn't open, or Beth, this didn't look right. You know, so help me, help you kind of a philosophy is what I look at. I want to know when something looks fantastic. I love seeing your designs. I love promoting them on Instagram. I love tagging you. But I also want to know if something doesn't work for you and doesn't perform, because that just helps me get better. So again, communication is key. Deborah? Varieties for event work. You know, so I think there's 5 different types of peony. I'm only going to touch on these 3 herbaceous, which is what our farm grows. Herbaceous being a stem that comes up, you cut it down at the fall, and the following year it sprouts up 2 new roots, 2 new eyes, excuse me, where that original stem was. They come in different forms, single, double bulb. There's all great things that you can use with these. Herbaceous peonies, as well as Ayato and tree peonies. All of them have, herbaceous singles, Ayatos, and trees. Those ones there, those varieties don't ship really great because they're normally a single and they bruise easily. So for events, you know, for shipping, really doubles and bombs work the best to get your product to you safely with no discoloration from bruising of the petals. Also singles, Ayatos, and trees also tend to open in the box. The minute they get out of the cooler, we hold our stuff around 33 degrees. The minute it comes out of the cooler, there's some chemical reaction in there that says, oh, it's time to bloom. And so they'll start opening. So those singles and the Ayatos tend to open up quite quickly. Again, try to source locally. If you can find a grower that grows those, they're absolutely stunning. This picture is Hillary that you see there. It's new to me. And it's just incredible. I really love the Ayatos. I wish that, I wish they ship better. So those are a little bit about the varieties. Deborah? And so storage, this is another thing that I get asked quite frequently. How do I store my peonies? You know, I've got an event happening this weekend, but I'm going to order all of them because I have another event next week. I don't want them all opening up at the same time. Okay, well, that's what's so beautiful about the peony, is that you can go ahead and dry store these, which is how we store ours. You can see that photo. That was our pack house manager was writing down Duchess. We use a SKU code to categorize all of our varieties. Just easy. I used to be in the travel agency world years ago, and so I always use SKUs, 3 code SKUs. But anyways, So we put everything in our boxes, we dry pack them. And if they are prone to wilting or drying out, we put them in hydration packs. So they're hydrangea hydration bags, which help keeps the leaf structure nice and supple. But at home, what you would want to do is once you receive them, go ahead and take them out. Don't give them a drink of water. You'll go ahead and wrap those beauties back up in newsprint or newspaper, and go ahead and rubber band it or tape them down so that they're kind of sealed. You don't want them dehydrating anymore, and you're going to put them in your refrigerator at home or a cooler if you've got a shop. And most times your refrigerators and coolers are not cold enough for them to not start opening, especially since they've gone through that transit of, in the air already traveling to you. But it will slow it way down. And so you can hold them in your cooler for the following week. And then, a couple days before your event, pull them out and follow all the hydration procedures that we outlined prior, making sure you give them lots of water, give them a nice, clean, sharp cut on an angle, and just let them hydrate up in your cooler. And then pull them out and start letting them, manipulating them as you want. Like I said, a lot of folks like to go ahead and leave some in bud stage or just starting to open that cracked look. And so, just depending on how you want them to present, and your design is going to dictate how long you pull them out of the cooler and put them in a warm location. Okay, next. And so I also get this one from folks as far as, how do you get them to open up? And thankfully, it's not normally my florist with my product, because I try really hard to be conscientious between a florist and a wholesale. But these are some of the things that you can do. Of course, just the basic, putting it in hot water or warm water, but leaving it in the room that's a warm room really helps stimulate that. But one thing, what happens with buds in our area as well as Lower 48 is they have a resin, not resin, but a sugar that grows alongside with the bud as it matures. So those sugars are coming from the roots and it's excreting this sugar sappy substance. And ants in your area, for the most part, Lower 48 has ants. I don't have ants on our farm. So the ants usually eat that off. And so for us, we have bees, we keep bees, and they do some of that, but not enough that I would say it cleans them. So if you get buds that are sticky and have this resin and are like not wanting to open, go ahead and just soak them in warm water. Just dunk them in there and let them kind of swish them around. I've heard people leave them up to 30 minutes in the water. What you're trying to do is you're trying to break down that sugar substance, because it does, when it gets hot, it just becomes like a resin and it doesn't allow the flowers to open properly. So go ahead and do that and then pull them out and, dry them off. One thing I will say, a caveat with that, when I first heard about that, is that make sure your bud is clean. If there's any kind of botrytis, any kind of mold or anything on it, do not put it in the water with anybody else. You are just asking those spores to transfer to the other buds in that bucket. So leave that one out and maybe try to do a little bit differently. These other ideas, massaging the base, pulling the outer petals, that just, like I said, that resin sometimes is kind of sticks there. If you pull those outer petals, it should just like pop right open. And then I put this at the end, and if they don't, I guess their texture, hopefully you can still use them in your design some way. Next.
Beth, before you go on, can you talk about this white little measuring tool with the holes? Because that must be a grading tool.
Yeah, that is a grading tool. Sorry. Yeah. And thanks for bringing that up. And I'm not sure if somebody, so we, in Alaska, for the most part, our farms grade New Zealand style. So a AAA bud would be the largest one. That's 1 3/4 inches bud
Wow.
size, and that would be a bud that's in bud form. That's not going to be a bud that is loose or marshmallow stage. That's a bud 2, size 2 bud, or stage 2 bud. That's how our farm harvests them. And then the next one is a double A, a single A, and then the little guy down there is a 1 inch, which is a U.S. standard. That's we learned about U.S. standards about 4 years ago. And it was like, for us, it was like, whoa, that is a small, we would never have thought to harvest that. But my good friend Kelly told me, what are you doing getting rid of all these? These are what we get in the lower 48 anyway. So
Wow.
we're trying to find a use for them. We call them petites, and sometimes we'll sell them. Just depends on the variety. Some varieties just put out really, really large buds, and other ones like your Duchess, Dina Moore, they're beautiful white, super fragrant. Absolutely love them. But they don't get a really huge bud. So
Okay.
even though they open up
Thanks.
quite large.
Thanks. We've got about 4 more minutes. I don't know how many
keep
more.
going.
This might be your last slide.
If I could
Yeah,
just interject, this is
Yeah.
this is Lisa asking a question on behalf of Stephanie. We're just wondering, could you tell us a little bit more about understand that they are no longer a vase flower, but an event flower on the former screen?
Sure. So if you are holding a product, like I was talking about, I held for my daughter's wedding, I mean, they lasted 4 days and then they were done. All their energy has been spent by that time. So if you are holding something for a really long time, just realize that if you're trying to use it to put in a vase and enjoy on your table for a normal, 7 to 10 days, which peonies will last that long, you're probably not going to get that type of longevity from something that's been held for a long period of time. Does that answer that? Okay, thanks, Stephanie.
Yes, thank you.
So this, I just was going to throw in a little bit of stuff that's happening in our area. I work with Alaska Peony Cooperative. I'm a member of that co-op, and they are based out of the Mat-Su, Susitna area. And they're having a farm tour June 12th. They usually do this once a year, and it visits the growers in the area that belong to the co-op. One thing I'll say too, with being a member of APC, kind of a twofold benefit. For one, just phenomenal farmers. They've got a really beautiful product up there. We adhere to a really high standard of operations and standards of what we ship. And so it's great to have that overview of it. But also because they're earlier, we talked about when they come on. So whenever I have my own clients that are coming to me direct, I can send them to the farm. I can send them to the co-op, and the co-op will go ahead and make sure that they've got, they open earlier than I do. So, and vice versa, it works well for our farm because when their farms are all finished up, we're still just in the midst of harvest or starting at the Red Cabin Farm. So, that's wonderful. This is our second year here in Homer. Homer has been deemed the city of peonies by the state of Alaska and our city of Homer. And so these are some of the activities I just went ahead and threw in there that are going on. Kelly will be back at our farm. Kelly's been coming up to our farm since 2016. Since we started the first farm in Alaska to do the Certified American Grown Field-Based Dinner Tour. And so Kelly was my designer, and we have created an Alaska Peony Retreat that we do every year. Of course, last year and this year not so because of COVID, but we have done these workshops. And so Kelly will be up during the Peony Festival and doing workshops for us this year. And next. And so this is just my contact information, and then how to order. Just a little plug there about our new e-commerce site. It's still, I want to say it's a work in progress, but it's really not. It's almost finished as far as me knowing how to operate it. But it does provide access real time. So you don't have to bother just emailing me, say, hey, do you have this at such and such time? You can just go right there and look. and see. If you go ahead and send me a request through the florist link, I just need some verification, your business license and that kind of stuff. And I will send you a back end link to the discount prices. So
Thank you, Beth.
yeah. Is there any other questions?
I think we'll have questions. Maybe we'll hold them until Brandon's done. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's fantastic with me. So
Great. Before, that was so fabulous. It was like going to Peony graduate school. I really appreciate it. Before we start, I just had to show you, I cut my first peony this morning with my first, this is my David Austin Rose, Lady of Shallot. And this peony is called Felix Kraus. And so I
Sweet.
just had to say, I've got you had peonies on my mind, Beth, and I'm just delighted.
I'm just going to throw a quick shout out also to Seattle Wholesale Growers Market. They were instrumental in helping me get product, and Debra in getting product up here for this demonstration for Brandon, because ours are, of course, under snow. We're just emerging. So anyways, shout out to them as well as Steyer's Peonies. I had ordered these for Mother's Day for myself. And,
where did those come from, Beth?
These are from the East Coast, Steyer's Peonies.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So they're beautiful, beautiful blush. So anyways.
Great. Well, Beth is going to transition to camera woman now and help us watch Brandon. And while she's setting up, and I will take myself off the screen so you can see Brandon larger, I just want to introduce Brandon Scott McLean. Brandon and I met at Scenic Place Peonies. I thought it was maybe in 2017 during the, I might have the year wrong, during the Field to Vase dinner that was at Scenic Place. And Kelly Shore came up to be the guest designer, but she also taught a workshop. And lo and behold, it was all women, of course, plus this wonderful guy, Brandon, and he blew our minds with his design talents. And I, after that, said, I want to write a story about him. So I was able to feature Brandon in Florist Review in, I think, December of 2018, kind of under the headline of One to Watch. And if you don't follow him on Instagram, you should. And I know Karen will be putting the Instagram handles for both. Oh, she's already done it. And for Beth and Scott in the chat. So Brandon, welcome, and thank you for agreeing to do this. First of all, tell everybody where you are and what is East Hill Floral is, focus and specialty.
So we are here in my greenhouse. So on my grandfather's property, my father actually built this. It's more of a studio space now. I don't do a whole lot of growing in here.
That's because you have a beautiful high tunnel right behind you.
You can see it, but it's plastic of the high tunnel, which I'm now primarily growing in, which is fabulous to have that growing space. But East Hill Floral is my business, which I primarily do weddings and events, but we're just now starting to try to do a few other things, bouquet subscriptions. It's growing, we're figuring it out. But right now, just mostly weddings and events.
Great.
Yeah,
And so you grow, and if I follow your Instagram, and so I see this like amazing selection of things that people don't associate with Homer, Alaska. So are you like pushing the boundaries, constantly redefining what your zone is because you can grow undercover?
Yes and no. I'd say there's also a misconception about our area. There's so many microclimates in Alaska, and particularly in Homer, and particularly where I am, is very protected, and we stay pretty warm. We don't get very cold here compared to like the interior, or if you're up on the bluff or the top of the hill. So we are a little protected here, and so it does allow me to push some boundaries, especially having the high tunnel. There's a lot of things in there I could not grow outside.
That's great. I remember when I was in Homer, I thought this is the part of Alaska that reminds me the most of the Pacific Northwest because it is more temperate.
Yes. We get a lot of leniency with what we can grow because of that.
Well, show us what you've designed. I know you have a finished arrangement, and then you're going to do a little bit of actual on-camera designs.
So this I prepared last night for us. And this is showcasing beautiful yellow peonies that you guys were able to source.
These were
Stunning.
grown, these are grown by a guy in Washington State named Gonzalo Ojeda Farms, and they're available through the Seattle Wholesale Growers Market. I don't know the variety, Brandon.
Oh, well, they were beautiful. And so then I just went around and I picked between what Beth and I had available. She has these gorgeous, gorgeous hellebores all throughout here. And I thought I went for kind of a lighter chartreuse, greenish color to kind of complement the peonies. These hellebore were just had all those beautiful colors in them. Some gorgeous double daffodils from my garden. We've got birch here, which is kind of my structure, which is what I started with. And it also helps. I've got a peony here that I wanted a little higher in it. And so I've kind of got it nestled in these two branches here, and it'll help support that.
It's this guy.
And then I've got a beautiful fritillaria here, fritillaria persica.
Oh my gosh. And that
That's
picks up on the purple of the tulips then.
Yes, and just hints of purple in here. And also, yes, these are tulips from my high tunnel, and these are a special little thing to me. They're called broken tulips, and they've got these beautiful, beautiful streaks, and there's so much history surrounding them. I find them fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
So Brandon, what do you have in there? Is it a pin frog or chicken wire? And what is your vessel? Is it a bowl?
Yes, I've got a bowl here. A local friend of mine actually threw this. And then inside, I've just got some chicken wire that I have secured with some waterproof tape.
Oh, you even have bleeding heart there. Is that from your garden or Beth's?
Oh yeah, there is some in here.
The white
Yeah,
is-
this is from my garden. I've got some beautiful white alba bleeding heart in this arrangement here. And I also have more behind us for the following arrangement. It's going to be kind of a pink color palette. And I've got some beautiful.
Well, let's let you set you loose on designing, because we only have about 15 minutes, and we don't want to miss a minute of that. But Brandon, that is stunning, and I'm hoping you'll post that on Instagram so we can all put our comments and likes on. You going to show us where you photograph your designs?
Yes, and then right here next to me is kind of a little staging area. I've got a backdrop, and I've got some props and just some fabrics here to create kind of a little still life scene. And yeah, I'll come back here later and photograph this, and I would love to share.
So that works really well for like anything you're designing, because you're getting that diffused light. Like generally any time of the year, you get a good exposure
Yeah,
and
I got,
contrast.
great diffuse light out here where it's not too harsh. It's just right.
Okay, Brandon, what do you have there?
Yeah, so to start here, I've got my vessel, and I've got it on a little lazy Susan here so I can spin it around. And then inside here, again, I've got a ball of chicken wire that I have then secured with this waterproof tape here to give us some extra support. With peonies, you really want that. They're pretty heavy. Okay, and then to start here, I've got some beautiful, this is a Newport flowering plum from the high tunnel. And I'm going to kind of create a little structure and a little movement just to get us started here. So I'm looking at this, and I kind of like how it looks almost as if I can get this to flow down. And so I'm going to get this right here where I can get an angle going down. Spin that around a little. I like that. All right, and then something I really like to focus on is movement. So I'll do my low part here, and I'll also do a high part here on the other side. And I kind of want them to create a line that is a continuous line. And then this is some purple leaf sand cherry, I believe.
That's beautiful.
And then I'm going to go in on the other side here and try to create my high point. So it just takes a little fidgeting to figure out. And when I'm not being filmed, I'll probably sit here a lot longer and really play around with the placement and try to get the exact.
Yeah, no pressure, Brandon.
Yeah,
You're doing a great job. People are putting very positive comments in the chat. They're loving us.
So now I've got kind of a little bit of a structure. Let's go in here. Now I've got kind of a hole over here.
So it's a different, the flowering branch is a different tree than the one that you have to your right.
Yes,
Okay.
they both flowered and they were stunning, but yes, this is a Newport flowering plum and it is pretty much finished. But the one here that's still going a little bit is a different purple leafed sand cherry.
Oh, okay.
And then actually, let's go in with our peonies, our big statement pieces. And you kind of want to carve out a little hole for them. You don't want to wait too late. You kind of want to work around it somewhat. Cut it pretty short. Want them to go.
You cut that pretty short then.
I did. I'll definitely start down here, and I like to keep peonies mostly lower to the base, unless I have something like I was saying on the last one, where I have a nice structured branch that I can balance it on.
It just goes so beautifully with that plum or the cherry.
Yeah.
For the blossoms.
But I can't believe, so also that you've been holding that peony, Beth, for almost, well, a week and a
Got it
half at
on-
least.
Yeah, I got it on the 14th. They couldn't ship it right away.
Oh, okay. So a week
But-
ago.
Yeah. But I just gave these to Brandon on Monday with the Seattle wholesale grower ones, and he opened them up and hydrated them, and they turned out stunning.
Mm.
If you could smell them, they have a really lovely fragrance, and
Fantastic.
yeah, they're quite large.
Now I'm going to go back in with some of this. This is a prairie fire crab apple, also coming out of the high tunnel.
Oh my God, you have a whole orchard in your high tunnel?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. I was talking to him about it, and he's got all these great fruit trees in there. It's like, oh man, you really must enjoy the fruit. And then I started thinking, it's like, oh, no, you don't get any fruits. All
Not when
flowers.
you're cutting for floral arranging, right?
Exactly.
Oh, that combination is amazing with the different tones.
Yeah, and this last night I was going around trying to come up with a palette here, and I was just really inspired. All these beautiful pinks just kind of all came together for me. That'll be
Hey,
great.
Brandon, while you're talking, can you talk a little bit about your background and what led you to flowers while you're designing? Is that okay? Because we want to know your
Yeah,
backstory.
sure. I come from I've always had flowers kind of in my family. My grandfather owns garden nurseries down in California, and I'd spend a lot of time down there gardening with him and helping him out at the nursery. So I've always had a lot of gardening and flowers in my life. And then just myself, I was really into art, and I went to art school, and I wanted to be a sketch artist, a painter, and I spent a lot of my time painting. And then at some point, I just combined them. I don't know exactly, I don't know if it was 2015 or what drove me. I think I'd seen some beautiful, beautiful stuff online where it was more an artistic approach to flowers, where it wasn't so structured, where it's more loose and wild and garden style. And it just really spoke to me. And so finding that I could, combine those two worlds of, art and painting and flowers and gardening, all kind of combined into this beautiful flower arranging in this unique garden style.
Well, when we were chatting yesterday, and I remembered that you had worked a couple summers on one of the local peony farms, not Beth's, but an chili root peony farm, and you said that gave you the appreciation for farming, but that you didn't feel
Oh,
compelled to
absolutely.
pursue that path.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was just looking for all sorts of opportunities. I wanted to immerse myself in as much as I could. And of course, take advantage of, the peony farms that were here. And I worked for Michelle Lafreniere up at Chili Root, which was a wonderful, wonderful experience. But yes, like you said, it was very eye-opening to the amount of work and just dedication and every little aspects that you don't even think about that go into this crazy world of peony farming.
I'm going to try to find the article I did about you and post it in the chat so people can read a little bit more of that backstory. This is a pretty big year for you though, Brandon, because it's the first year you've gone free 100% floral. You had an off farm or off garden job, and that's a bit of a risk. So we wish you really a great season.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I think it was time and COVID and all sorts of stuff just led me to that leap. And I think it's going to be good. I've got quite a few weddings. Weddings are really coming back this year. Last year, we did not have very many, of course. But this year, I think, is going to be a really good wedding year. I'm getting a handful of inquiries.
And you're in the destination wedding area too, I would imagine.
Yes, and being here in Homer, a lot of Alaskan and people from the Lower 48, but a lot of Alaskans like to come down. Homer is kind of the beautiful little destination.
Destination. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Karen already found the article.
They are
Karen, I'm
fat.
like poking around trying to find it, and you've already posted it. Okay, this is a story about Brandon and two other designers, but his full page, his design opens the story with a full page spread, and one of his iconic kind of, I wouldn't say, I would say modern Dutch masters vibe, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
You're
I took
not-
a little mix of everything.
Yeah. And Kelly Shore is your big fan, and she's been commenting in the chat about
Hi, Kathy.
especially about the way you style your arrangements with fruits, vegetables, small props. And then Stacy Lee popped in and said, and mushrooms and shells and nests and all the natural things.
Oh,
So that's sort of a two-part creative endeavor. Then you do the arrangement, but then you compose the whole picture, the whole painting.
yeah, and that's just taking pictures of them. I felt just needed more, and I loved those beautiful old photos and beautiful old paintings from the Dutch masters, where they incorporated all of that, the little bugs and the fruit, and I just thought that was stunning, and wanted to try to recreate that if possible.
Actually, Brandon does a great job with his photography. It's amazing to see how he can get the light to bounce off and refract from stuff. It's really, it's always fun going through his feed.
Well,
and
it's
seeing.
it's the other skill set that florists need to have now. And growers. What are you adding now, Brandon?
These are some beautiful double tulips that came from Beth's high.
Those are your Foxy Foxtrot is what those are.
It's got a really kind of warm pink tone to it.
You know, they started out really white, and I I actually was a little upset because they were so white, and then they finally have taken on their true color. So yeah, I'm real happy with them now.
Okay, great. We've got about just maybe 4 or 5 more minutes, Brandon, and then we'll unfortunately, I think you'll be relieved. You won't have to design on camera. You can just go finish your arrangement.
Yeah, we're just about finished here, actually.
Oh, that you added the bleeding heart of the pink and white.
I know, isn't that beautiful? Yeah. What is this leaf right down here?
That came off of it's a new plant. I haven't even planted it. So
Oh. It's beautiful.
Philopendula.
Yep. Oh, it's beautiful.
And yeah, I just thought that gorgeous, almost like a metallic. It was kind of
Yeah.
that reflection. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, it picks up on the metallic vibe of the hellebores too. Bravo, you're getting accolades here in the chat. Kelly Shore said she remembers a time that when you did the workshop in 2017, you were the only designer who didn't go for peonies. You went for all the David Austin Juliets. And you grow David Austin roses yourself, right?
I do. They are one of my absolute favorite flowers. I love the garden roses, David Austin's in particular. I probably have about 75 growing in the high tunnel behind me. And they're coming on. They've got little buds just starting, and oh gosh, I am so excited for them.
Yeah, they look beautiful. All right.
This is
Brandon,
probably
that's-
pretty much it. I've got one
that
little
is-
pole here, but
Just stunning. And the balance between the form of the larger peonies and then all these delicate kind of accent flowers and foliages and branches, just delightful. It's a moment in spring that we all just need to stare at. So please post that on your Instagram.
I will definitely style this, take some pictures, and I will tag Amber Slow Flower Society.
Oh, thanks. Anything else you want to mention? I know you're going to probably do some workshops later this year, so people can, we put your website up in the chat,
yeah.
but people can see that if they follow you, right?
Yeah, definitely. I haven't finalized anything yet, but there are some things in the works, so definitely stay tuned. Check out social media, and we'll hopefully be posting something in the near future. Definitely
Great.
love to do some workshops.
Thank you so much. That is absolutely stunning. Let's give him a hand wave of applause, Brandon. Thank you. And Beth and Beth too. Thank you both so much. What a beautiful day. And Beth, why don't you can you get over there with Brandon and do the selfie?
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll turn this around. So
Thank you.
Did I kind of mess it up doing that way?
That's perfect. Thank you both
Okay.
so much. We're thrilled. And I think does anyone have any last minute questions? If so, please quickly raise your hand and Lisa will grab those.
You too, Stacy.
Yeah, there's a lot of peony fans in the call today. We had a really good group. And as I said, we'll have this video, the replay video next week, and we'll post that. And so folks who had to pop out can or want to return and watch it over again and get all those slides that Beth had. That will be really helpful. And we'll all see you in Homer, Alaska soon.
Sounds great. Thanks again for having us. We really do
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Deborah.
Oh, it's
Really.
great. So we are going to do some giveaways and I'm going to announce these now and then Nisha will do the drawing over the weekend and let people know. But one of the packages is what Beth calls the Farmer's Dozen. So Beth, do you want to just quickly describe that?
Sure. Our Farmer's Dozen is a kind of a take on the Baker's Dozen. So you buy 12, you get one free. And so this box comes, it's usually a single A stem size. It just comes and it's really for, it started last year because of COVID and just people reaching out, wanting to get flowers in their hands and not necessarily wanting to get 20 of them. So it was kind of our answer to just hopefully, spreading a little bit of joy and giving people something to help the time that they were going through.
Kind of a DIY clientele.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But if whoever wins this is going to have a blast with that. Of course, it won't be available. We'll ship it later this summer. But Beth, thank you for that generous donation.
Yep.
We also are giving away one copy of my new book, Where We Bloom. And there are lots of beautiful spaces featuring Slow Flowers members, 37 in all. So you might get that, and that will be really fun. And then we have 2 Johnny's packages, which will be the embroidered logo hat from Johnny's Selected Seeds with a hand cedar. We've got 2 of those. And then we have a special gift, and I just want to show it on the screen because it kind of came in as a surprise. A fan of Slow Flowers, Allison Marathi, she has a business called Flower Mama, It's all floral related products. She designs and manufactures these 3D printed vases, which is sort of a new technology. I'm not quite sure any more than that, but she's offering this vase. It's a 3D vase from the Flower Mama shop. And so someone will get that. And look at Allison even arranged some peonies in it to send us this photo. So kind of fun. She saw we were doing something on peonies and thought she would get involved. Quickly, our April winners, I'll just say that Lacey Russell of Alice Creek Flowers won a copy of Where We Bloom last month. Jamie Reeves of the Local Flower Collective and Kate of City House Country Mouse both won sets of Slow Flowers Society collector pins. And Allison Ellis of Real Flower Business and Darcy McPherson of Silver Thread Gardens received the Johnny's seed packets. So we're just sharing the love here, and hope you all enjoy that. I just want to say one more thing before we say goodbye, and that is that our next monthly Zoom virtual meetup will take place back at our original date of the second the second Friday of the month. And it'll be Friday, June 11th, same time, 9 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Alaska time, and noon Eastern. And our special guests will be a few of the design teams behind the botanical couture looks for American Flowers Week. We've got some amazing geniuses who've engineered like a combination of science and beauty to create these wearable fashions. So we're going to do a little preview of that and get some of the behind the scenes stories. So I look forward to seeing you in June. And I just thank you all for being part of this today. We had a great turnout. Beth and Brandon, you just rocked it and got us all salivating for Alaska peony season. So when and I know there's other Alaska folks on the call today, so you're all so lucky to have a summer filled with peonies when the rest of us are yearning for them. So this is a way to connect and extend our seasons. Okay, thanks so much. Lisa and I are going to stay on the call for any member Q&A questions, and otherwise we'll say goodbye. And thanks for a great session today. I'm really inspired to go hopefully coax my other peonies to bloom.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. So
Yep.
happy to be on.
Oh, you guys were amazing. Thank you both.
Yep. Thank you. Have a great one.
Okay, take